we're talking about our stories tonight, and what Brody says is man hurt, man find magnet, man stop hurting, man make money.
Yeah.
And he says that is the crux of your story. So who wants to go first?
I can.
Okay, go.
Are you ready? Okay. I experienced very bad back pain for about 10 years. By the end of my work days, I felt like I was almost paralyzed in my lower body. My feet and legs were pretty much numb. I went to several doctors over the years with no luck. I retired in 2011 and I began seeking medical help again. I finally had surgery on May 30th of 2012. When I woke up from the surgery, I was out of pain, but the numbness in my feet and legs remained. Obviously, the nerves were extremely damaged. The doctor told me if they did not regenerate in a year, they probably would not. My body was very stiff and I had lost most of my muscle tone due to the lack of activity. So my balance wasn't very good either, and my circulation. A therapist came to my house and worked with me for about 6 weeks. It did help, but I still needed more. I also tried water aerobics, which helped some. However, I still needed more. I really did not know what else to do at this point. I just got by the best that I could. A few years down the road, my neighbor, Shirley Self, dropped by, and she said she had something she wanted to show me or to share with me. And I thought, well, she's probably selling something. And I really didn't want to buy anything, but I'm still going to say yes, and I'll try to be neighborly. Well, I'm glad now that she came back that day and left me a pair of magnetic insoles to try out. I put them in my shoes, and the rest is history. I could feel something working in my feet, and I wore them for a few days, and I began to get some feeling in my feet. I started trying to move my toes, and gradually that got better. I was so happy. It was a milestone. I could walk much better, and my balance had improved a lot. My energy level and my endurance was improved. And I will tell you right here and now that if I go without my insoles, I can really tell it. And I want to say thank you to Shirley Self for caring and sharing. And I'm on a journey to improve other people's lives.
Very nice. Who wants to go next?
I was going to say, what book did that come out of, Miss Betty? That was so good.
I have rewritten that thing, I don't know how many times, and trying to get it down to 2 minutes. I timed myself.
That's funny. I'll go.
I did tell Shirley, I said, I think I need to write a story about every product that's helped me with a 2-minute talk. And that way, you know, if someone's coming on a call and I know they have a certain problem, you know, like I invited them or something, then I could talk about that particular one and I'd have my story.
I think that's a good idea.
Just a thought. So.
Yep.
Okay. Well, my book ain't done, so you're gonna when you said I gave you an assignment, I felt like I was back in the 9th grade going, I didn't do it.
I didn't do my homework.
I know. Okay.
This was 1 week that I did.
Okay. So I guess for me, my story started before I met Kimball with pains and problems with my wrists and my stomach. And then in 2007 and 8, I was finishing up my massage school, and I was working in the clinic, and my friend, I kept complaining to her that I was so upset with the doctors telling me I have to have surgery and I don't know what to do, and my stomach was getting worse, but I didn't want to deal with my stomach at that time because if I couldn't work for my hands, I didn't have time to have a pain stomach or a problem stomach. And she said, you have to go see her. You just have to go see her. And I feel like it was towards the end of 2007, that I went to Raleigh, and Tony went with me, and we went and we talked to Kimball and Jeffrey. I never met them before in my life. And I went there to get her to help me with my wrists. That was the only thing I cared about, was my stinking wrists. Because I did work in a gym. I was part of their management team, so I was on a computer, and I did massage therapy. And if I didn't have my wrists, I didn't know what I was going to do. At that time, Tony and I were not married. I was a single parent living on my own with my 3 children. And I was already nervous because I was trying to let this man be in my life, to be a parent and a father to my children, because the other was not. And I was scared if I couldn't work. I didn't want to rely on this man because I didn't want to do that. That wasn't my life. That wasn't my heart. And I knew I needed to be able to take care of myself. And so I told Kimball about my wrists, and she just put these little bracelets, the little green ones, the old ones. She popped those on my wrists and said to wear them. And she started talking to me about something else, and Jeffrey was giving me water, and it was great. And then I started telling her about my stomach, and I can't even tell you how the stomach came up, but it came up. And then after I told her, oh, I had H. pylori a few years ago, and my stomach and this and this, and I really did have a bad stomach. And if you have any idea, if you've been through the military or with a family member in the military, ibuprofen is the first thing they give you for any pain.
Oh, wow.
And I had been on ibuprofen for probably almost 8 or 9 years because of my stomach problems. And so I'm drinking that water, and I left her house, and I had a big jug of water. I think I had 2. And then I had the bracelets, and I was going to have to check in with her. So I see how everything was going. And I don't even remember how many weeks it was. I don't remember how many days it was, but it was almost instantaneously that my wrists weren't aching. And I was all ready to cancel my next ortho appointment, because I'm not going to go spend the money on that appointment if they don't need to cut my wrists open. And I can use my wrists, and I can do massage all day long for 6 patients a day, and there's no problem. So all I need to just do is wear these bracelets. and, and and the water, well, as soon as it was empty, I recall getting it filled and said, you know what, I just need to buy it. This is silly. I just need to buy that water system. And my story started there. And now it's more than almost all of the products later, because I've had other issues and ailments that have come up that I do consult a physician, but I think of my nature, which my nature is a Native American, and how I can help myself. And what would Kimball tell me to do? What would Kimball direct me with? I know she doesn't cure and diagnose and heal, and she is not medicine, but all her knowledge has helped me to, one, have probably more authority in my thoughts, because I think I do know what I'm talking about. I just might need a little bit, maybe, of direction, or maybe sometimes I just need somebody to say, you're right.
Yeah.
And she's helped me so much with all of the products through Nikken to either heal myself or my children. So my story spans like so many products, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's where it began.
Very good. Who wants to go next?
Who else is out there?
There's Barbara, there's Shirley, and there's Kathy.
Well, I haven't really worked on mine. I don't know if you noticed on the WhatsApp, but my brother-in-law passed away.
Oh, no.
And Janie just called and told me that my sister that's deceased, brother-in-law, just passed away from COVID. He and his wife were both in the hospital with COVID. And
Oh.
Johnny has passed.
Did they live
No.
here?
Yeah.
This brother-in-law is
I
this
just found out, Sherry.
is this one of the brother-in-laws that I met up there?
No, the brother-in-law that my brother-in-law that passed away was Andy Meeks, and he lives in Stoneville.
Oh,
He and Katie. You did not meet them. All you met was John Silas.
yeah.
Andy married Henry's oldest sister by his mother.
Okay.
You remember his dad had 2 sets of children.
Yeah.
And Katie was the oldest daughter with Wimmy and Aubrey.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Well, he was 85. He had lived a good life.
Yeah.
He had just finished, he had prostate problems, and they had just been watching it, and then all of a sudden it started growing. So they did treatments, and he had just finished those treatments. And week before last, and Katie got up, and he had gone to the bathroom and just sat on the edge of the bed and just laid back and was gone. So
Oh my.
it's been rough, but and Janie just texted me, well, messaged me that Johnny had passed. We had been praying for him and Gloria both, but it's tough.
It is tough. It is.
I spent today at the clothes closet trying to get clothes for people with different circumstances, and one of them was a woman. Her husband had been in 4 hospitals since November the 2nd with COVID, and he's being transferred tomorrow to a nursing home in Danville.
Oh
And
my.
she lives in Bassett here. So she said he had lost 50 pounds. She says, I don't know. I'm hoping what you've got here will fit him. She's just guessing that it would. So it's really bad. She said, I've been able to talk to him, with the help of the nurses and stuff, but, it's all been by phone. She hasn't seen him in that length of time. I can't imagine.
That's
Yeah.
awful.
Yes.
The
That's how it
separation.
was in May.
Yeah.
A friend of ours, he did the same thing. He sat in that hospital for about 3 weeks and he couldn't see her. And then he got to go home for 1 day because the doctor released him. And then that night she called us and we were eating supper. And she said, Cece, something's wrong. I need you and Tony. And me and Tony went over to check him. And he has dialysis. He has diabetes real bad. And he had been at the hospital all of that time. And they were flushing him with his transfusions every 2 days, every 3 days. And then they said, nope, he's good. He can go. And he went home and he collapsed on us. And we looked at each other and we knew he wasn't coming back. And so when we called the ambulance, he sat in that dang hospital for probably another 7 days. And he couldn't see her. He couldn't nothing. And she just almost went crazy because for 25 years they've been together all the time, all the day, everything. And then he passed.
Yeah, that's the worst part of this whole thing is the people not being able to be there with them.
Breaks your heart.
Well, I'll try. I really haven't worked on my story with everything that's been going on, but I'll try briefly, I guess. I was invited to a NECAN meeting by my friend Kathy Reynolds, and I was looking forward to getting information about the NECAN products because I had been told of the many different improvements that her granddaughter had using Nican products. My first purchase was the insoles, which I put in my shoes and wore. It helps your feet, gives you more energy, keeps the circulation going in your feet. And my next purchase was the PyMag Waterfall water filtration system. And I love that water. It gives you the water that has the taste of the fresh water that came from the spring when I was growing up. And that also helps give you more energy. It helps your hydration. And right now, it also helps with your immunity. With the situation we have with COVID, that staying hydrated is very, very important. And I have been very pleased with all of the Nican products that I have used. My sister had a lot of pain in her feet, and I finally talked her into trying some of the Nican insoles. So she buys one pair, and they really help with her arthritis in her feet and legs. And she was really pleased with them. And one day she went out shopping and went in her dress shoes that she didn't have the insoles in. And she came back and she said she kept hurting and hurting, and it dawned on her. She had wore her dress shoes that didn't have the insoles in it. So now she has insoles for her dress shoes and for her tennis shoes. And she doesn't want to go without them. So she is very pleased with the Nican products. We do not diagnose, we do not treat, but we have lots of products that can help people with various problems they may have medically. And if anyone is interested in making a little extra income, we always welcome anyone onto our team as an independent Nican consultant. Thank you.
Well, that was great for impromptu.
Very good.
Mhm.
All right, who wants to go next, Barbara or Kathy?
Well, I was talking and didn't realize I was muted.
Well, we're sorry we missed it. You get to go again.
Is that your story and you sticking to it?
I just said some of the most interesting things, and I'm sure y'all would have been so impressed. Well, my Nican story kind of begins in a chiropractor's office, but before that chiropractor's office, I am a product of the American way of poor habits. We are a product of what we eat, what we do, what we think. And I had not made good choices in my life. And I didn't eat properly. I didn't stay hydrated. I was tired. I was achy. Lower back was out. I'd hurt my hip as a kid and it never healed properly. And so when I found my way to the chiropractor's office, I was just a mess. And I thought, a good adjustment is going to fix it. But what I didn't realize, in order for an adjustment to hold, I had to be properly hydrated. Mm-hmm. And I had to do something about my inflammation levels. And he began to talk to me about my immune system and about inflammation. And he was holding my arms out and pressing down and checking my strength. And all of a sudden he says, "Kathy, do you pray?" And in my mind, I thought, oh no, do I need to be right now? Are you getting ready to hurt me? He said, in the Bible, it says, Jesus says to love your neighbor as yourself. And so many people hear that, but if they don't love themselves enough to take care of themselves, how can they be effective in their love and care for their neighbor? And that just kind of hit me square between the eyes. And of course, he did everything in his human ability for me. but there were still so many aches and pains. And he introduced me to, well, number one, magnetic insoles, but the other thing was the Kinkotherm blanket. And when he put that around me, sitting on his examination table, and he put it around me and began to talk for a few minutes, oh my goodness, I just felt so warm and happy, and all the things that were screaming at me kind of quieted down. They didn't scream so loud anymore. And he began to give me instructions of what I needed to do to have a better life, and I just loved him. I mean, he just really met my need at that point. But just as wonderfully as he came into my life, he very mysteriously left my life. And so I didn't see or hear from him for years. But I had that Kinkotherm blanket. So when my aches and pains got up, I wrapped around it. I slept with it. I carried it to the sofa to watch TV in it. I traveled with it. And my husband would tease me about having a blankie. Oh, you got your little blankie. And then it got to be my happy blanket. And one day my daughter came in. She was in a college class, and she had a 2-year-old in tow. And he was so strong-willed. And she said, Mama, he's not taking a nap for anybody. And I've got to get to school. And so she left me with him and took off out the door. And I looked at him and I said, I have a surprise to show you. It's my new happy blanket. Come and let me show you the happy blanket. And that chap crawled under that happy blanket, and he took a 2-hour nap. And nobody could believe it. And so every time he would come in, if it was his nap time, he'd say, let's go find your happy blanket. And we would go get under it. And I think when he was about 3, it was probably the first time I ever told him no that I can remember saying. I mean, it was decisive. I didn't have to even think about it. He said, Grandma, can I take your happy blanket home with me? I promise I'll take care of it.
Aw,
And I said, no.
that's
No,
cute.
Grandma has to keep her happy blanket. But when he went away to college, that happy blanket went with him, because I had a new Kinko blanket by then. But I had gotten myself into a terrible state, and it was from choices that I made. I can't blame it on anything but my choices in life. And I know sometimes illness creeps up on me, but if I haven't taken care of my immune system, if I haven't made sure I'm hydrated, if I haven't made sure I have good gut health, so many things will happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have found out is that if I work on everything a little at a time, maybe they're baby steps, but hydration was the first thing 4 years ago that I got into. It was hydration, and I had some brand new insoles. And then I started adding supplements one at a time to help my immune system. And this journey has been 4 years of baby steps. But suddenly, about a month ago, I began to notice, hey, I'm thinking again. I have a clear head. And there's just a joy that comes along when you think, okay, all these little tiny baby steps are paying off. They're all moving in the right direction. And nobody can diagnose or treat me, because my doctor isn't going to do that. He'll prescribe a medication for me to take, and that makes me groggy and has all kinds of side effects. But if I put natural things, whole foods and things in my body that I know God created, I have a better day. And I can't explain it. I just can't explain how, but I feel better. I'm happier, and I can get there, can get where I need to go. So I don't remember. I just lost. I had one of those senior moments in some of
Oh,
those.
I say you lost your train. I lose my train all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
I do it
And I
too.
got to get back on. Toot, toot.
And I
Yeah,
did
that's
I
it.
didn't time myself, so I know I probably rambled on, but I've got a base that I'm working with, and I went back to even when I was. I found a picture of myself as a 6-month-old and a 1-year-old. I was the fattest, chubbiest little baby you can ever imagine. And when I was 3, my mom worked at the bank um, across from the courthouse in downtown, uptown Martinsville.
The
And
old Piedmont Bank.
well, it was First National, I think.
That's right, it was. You're right.
And so she would get off work and on foot, she would run a few blocks over to what is now the parking lot of the Martinsville Bulletin. And grandma would walk me out to the street. So when she got there, she grabbed my little hand and ran those little chubby legs back through town over beside the courthouse, going down that hill for dance lessons. And she would wait there, and I'd have my dance lesson, and then she would run me back home. And I tell you, I probably took the best naps from my grandma that afternoon. Every week that she would run. But my mother wanted me to be in better shape than I was, and I don't know why some babies are fatter than others, but I was just a real chub. And she just, I took dance until I was probably about 9 or 10. And Daddy wanted me to play the piano, and they couldn't afford both piano and dance. So they put me in piano lessons. And when I was 12, I fell on the playground and hurt my hip, and I never could seem to recover. And so they put me back in dance lessons, trying to keep that hip kind of, just keep it moving. And all along, I never realized that it just wasn't growing back. When we were kids and lived in the country, if you got hurt, then you just had to get well. And the doctor gave me a set of crutches and muscle relaxers and said, "Here, do this for 6 weeks, and it'll get better." And at the end of 12 weeks, Daddy took my crutches from me and he said, "You're milking this thing." And so I didn't find out until probably 20 years ago, when they were doing x-rays on my hip, that there was a lot of scar tissue, that hip had not grown back correctly, that I had probably dislocated it. And where instead of sitting down in the socket, the ball was sitting out on the edge.
Ooh.
So I wanted to go by Rose Lawn and say, "I told you it hurt." But anyway, I just had so many aches and pains. But see, if you have aches and pains, that's one thing. But then if you don't take care of your system, your immune system, and your gut, then you build up inflammation and you build up all kinds of issues that are unintentional but self-inflicted. And that's what happened. It was all self-inflicted, but it was all unintentional. I was living the American dream, eating what I wanted to eat, doing what I wanted to do. And if I didn't feel like it, I just stayed a couch potato till my hip felt better. So I got into a terrible, terrible state, but things are just looking so much better now. I'm approaching 67, and I'm just so blessed to be able to move at all. And I will only buy a pair of shoes if my insoles will fit in it. If they don't fit in it, I'm sorry. I don't care how pretty and what a good buy they are. They're not coming home with me.
Me either.
So
That was very nice. Barbara, you got one to share with us?
Yeah, I can share something. What y'all want to hear about? I don't have as great of stories as y'all do, though. That's the thing. I've been pretty healthy, and I want to stay that way. That's my whole Nican story. The water, I've got my water now. The only thing else I need is my shower thing, and I've got to go on and order it. I've just been so busy the last little bit. I have one of my big things is my knee, because I help other people, I think, more than me, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. That's what it's all about, right? My right knee bothers me because when I was in a car wreck, I don't even remember. Ryan was a baby. He was still in a car seat. He's 21. So a long time ago. Um, and my knee hit the dash and it dislocated my kneecap. Well, they didn't know it was dislocated right away because my really bright and intelligent husband at the time, who was a paramedic, said, "Oh, your knee's okay. You don't need to go to the hospital. Thank you." So I didn't know until later that what kind of problem I had with my knee. And by then it was too late. I had bone rubbing on bone. And so every now and then it flares up and it'll hurt me. And when Ryan and I moved back last year, apparently I overdid it a little bit. And I had a lot of trouble with my knee for a little while. But I kept putting the CM cream on it. I kept putting magnets on it. I didn't have a knee brace, so I bought one. But until then, the brace that I had, it wasn't magnetic. I actually put the magnet in it and wore it with the magnet in it. But I did the same thing even after I got my knee candy brace. Between all of that now, I don't wear anything on it now, and it doesn't flare up as much as it used to. It's pretty good. And I definitely 100% attribute that to Nikken. Plus, I take the joint as well now. And I definitely attribute that to Nikken. I mean, I didn't do anything else. There's no reason it would have just gotten better on its own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my story. I got lots of stories. I can't wait till I'm writing a story right now about Kimball, and I haven't used her name in it yet, but I can't wait till she reads it. I'm not finished with it.
I bet that's going to be good.
It is, because I'm talking about the first time I met Kimball, because I met Kimball at a networking meeting in Pittsburgh. And I think I was already a member, I think, when Kimball started coming. And she would always come, and every time she had that water bottle with her. And everybody was trying to figure out. I mean, she would talk about it, after a while, but to start with, there's this little lady come in and just real excitable. She was very happy and excited about what she was doing, and she'd talk about that water bottle. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about. I'm telling the story about Kimball and her water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
well, it sounds like you all have done a good job. Now I'm going to give you a challenge for the week. I'm going to encourage you and challenge you to do a Facebook Live on your Facebook business page if you've got it. If not, do it on your own page and tell your story.
I don't have a Facebook page. I've got my Waterfall Dreams page, but that's something still on my list of to-dos. You should see my list of to-dos.
You'll want to put up your business page and put that on it.
I'm trying to figure out right now how to change Alignable, because I didn't realize today until some guy called me and said, "I invited you on Alignable to connect with you." And I said, "I don't have an Alignable." And he said, "Yeah, you do. It's your face, but you're with this company." And he named my old company. And I was like, "Oh no." Apparently I forgot I had made one. So I'm on it right now. I finally figured out what the password was, and I'm on it now trying to change it to my new company. But I even have recommendations, but I had to delete the recommendations from the old company. So I'm trying to figure that out, because I got to get this off of here, because it's got my face on it.
Yep. You got to get that fixed.
Yeah. I did have lunch with Bob today, though.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I had lunch with Bob, so I got to see Bob, and I got to see the new car.
What did he end up getting?
A Subaru.
Oh, that'll go for a long time.
And it's a 2020. It's nice. I mean, it pretty much drives the car for you. It stops.
Nice.
It keeps you at a distance from the car in front of you. It keeps you in your lanes. I mean, it even brakes for you.
You better watch out. You're about to sound like a commercial.
I'm telling you. Well, I don't know how much it cost him. I didn't ask him that, but it was a nice little car. I mean, it was pretty nice. I mean,
they're not cheap. They're like Toyotas, but they go forever. I mean,
I was impressed with the technology. I mean, seriously. And then it was so funny. He said he was trying to work his navigation, and he put his navigation on, and he couldn't get it to work right. But then he plugged his phone in. I think he whacked it out with his phone. And so he said, I couldn't get the navigation to work. And so whenever we went to go get something to eat on the way back, I said, okay, here's what you do. And I did, and it worked perfectly. And I think it was just because he plugged his phone in. I think he made it do something stupid. Because it probably tried to connect the map from the phone to the map on the thing, and you can't do that. It confuses it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anywho. Yeah. Yeah, so it was fun. I got to see, I actually got to go out of the house today. Woohoo. I went out of the house yesterday too. I went to Crabtree with my son and daughter-in-law and one of my daughter-in-law's friends. So I'm trying to enjoy all the time I can with my son while he's here. He's leaving on the 8th. So yeah, I'm going to miss him and the dog. I'm probably going to miss the dog the most because she's been with me most.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You will. You will.
Yeah.
Well, the Laugh, Learn and Energize is up for next Thursday on Wellness Solutions Today.
I saw it. I liked it.
You all
Shared
can
it.
go on there and you can share it. You want to use that and you want to be inviting because, last Thursday night, I mean, I had gotten busy and I really hadn't had time to do anything much, but I send that thing out. It's sent out on Meetup, and that's how Betty got her new consultant. Was she saw it on Meetup. And she didn't know it was Nikken, but she manifested it because she had been thinking about Nikken for about a week. And she saw that, and it doesn't say anything about Nikken, but she thought, that sounds like it would be fun. And so she decided to show up.
Cool.
So, but the more that you share that, and you can take it and copy it, and you can put it in a lot of yard sale sites where you're at, you all up in Martinsville. Lynn used to do that all the time and would get people to show up. So you want to be doing that with these. You don't ever know who's going to come.
That's a good idea.
You can also take it and share it in Messenger with a message to friends. So you want to be, one of the things is you want to be promoting and messaging. And like I'm on a book study that a friend of mine's doing tonight. And one of the things that she did is that she put a post up on her page on Monday saying, the book study is going to be on Wednesday night. And then that was Monday. Then Tuesday, she put something up. And then about an hour before, she said, we've only got an hour to go. And so reminding people, because, even though most of us are kind of locked down, there's still a lot going on. So let people know.
Yeah, my beautician had said she was going to join, and I bet she forgot it. So that's what I'm going to do is put reminders up.
Yep, put reminders in. If it's somebody that then send them a private message or text them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like you're not going to be friends with them if they don't come, but it reminds them. I mean, because, things come up, people forget. Lord knows if I don't write it down, it won't happen. So before we go, has anybody got any kind of problems that they need to problem solve tonight?
I need to ask, would the immunity cause loose bowels, gas, loose bowels, and diarrhea?
I have never seen it cause that for anybody. Now, are they allergic? Have they ever had any allergies to mushrooms?
Not that I know of. It's Janie, and it could be just something she's eaten with her alpha-gal that's done it.
Oh, if she's got alpha-gal, then I suspect that. I didn't know that she had alpha-gal.
Yep. She found out several months back. Yep. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
I've been talking to somebody recently that has fibromyalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know where I could find some stories or information of how I can help them or what products, because that's something I still want to do.
I mean, the wellness home. You're not going to put a Band-Aid on fibromyalgia. I see
No,
that.
I know that, but here's the thing. I don't really know. I know what fibromyalgia is, but I don't know specifically what her particular pains are. You know,
She,
where it
if
might
she's
be.
got fibromyalgia, she gets pains from head to toe. Just
Oh,
depends
yeah.
on the day of the week.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was the thing I'm trying to suggest, I didn't know if there was something about it, like maybe if there was a video out there or some kind of story about
Well,
someone
I mean,
else.
that's
that
my
had it.
story. I mean, but you start with the water because they're always toxic. So you start with the water and you want them on the water for a week or so before you ever put them on a sleep system. But there's research studies on sleep systems with fibromyalgia and what it can do.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've run into Maria Kopp. She's a big networker in the area. But Maria was so sick with fibromyalgia 20 years ago that she was homebound. And she got water and a sleep system from a friend of hers when she lived up in New Jersey. I believe it's New Jersey and New York one. But anyway, she is entrepreneur extraordinaire, does credit card processing and makes a load of money, but probably works 50 hours a week.
Okay.
And one good reason that the sleep system is so important with fibromyalgia, I had 2 doctors at Duke tell me that I had it. And they said that in the study they were doing at Duke, they had students volunteer and they could reproduce fibromyalgia symptoms by interrupting their sleep and not having proper sleep. So that would exacerbate anybody with fibromyalgia to have insomnia. And it's Kimball's right. The whole wellness home is just, if they really want to immerse themselves in it, that they're going to find more relief that way than any other.
The insoles, the necklace, lactoferrin, J green enzymes, the immunity, the shake mix, because they probably have some heavy metals. I mean, most people who have fibromyalgia are toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the Ciaga.
Yeah, Ciaga is great with antioxidants.
Okay. Oh, I made something the other day, and I'm telling you what, I just wasn't even thinking about it because I'm just kind of die hard like that. I made a shake, okay, because now I've been on this diet plan, and I don't get enough nutrition. So one of the things I've done is I've started adding in, not necessarily every day, but the other day I was feeling kind of sluggish in the morning because I eat 6 times a day, but I eat a very small amount of food. So it speeds up my metabolism, and it's crazy that I'm hungry, So I just wasn't feeling that great. So I went ahead and got my shaker out, and I was making a shake. And I used coconut milk, and then I put my shake mix in there, and I put the vegan shake mix. I put that in there, and then I added the jade green, and I put a little bit more jade green than I normally do because I looked to see what the actual amount was, and I don't ever put that amount in there. So I put the amount it said, which is like a teaspoon. I put the Ciaga in there. What else was it? There was something else I put in there. Anyway, I put like everything in it and shook it up, and I got it down. But
Girl, that's my breakfast every day.
that was a little powerful. No, but I got it down. It wasn't as good as it normally is, but it's okay.
See, I'm sitting here right now drinking 2 scoops of the Jade Greens in my pretty glass mixed with my alkaline water, and it tastes like grass. But I know that it will help me be relaxed, and I will sleep well tonight.
Yeah.
Well, there was something in it that burned my throat. I don't know what it was, but there was something in it that burned my throat, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was the only thing I put a whole amount in there was the Jade Green.
Well,
How much coconut milk did you put?
I probably had, I don't even think it was quite 8 ounces.
That's the problem.
I needed more.
Because I put everything every day, Anna tends for, and I put almost 10 ounces of coconut milk because it is so thick of powder. I need to be able to break it all down. So For
Okay,
me,
maybe-
it's
maybe next time I'll do
almost
it,
10
I'll do
ounces
that.
of liquid.
And if it burned on the way down, then you have irritation in your esophagus.
Well, I
That was
know
the
I
next
do. I
thing.
have Barrett.
I mean, the reason that I do this is it bathes my esophagus and my intestines. And barley grass is, in fact, when I took that certification, the woman that taught it said barley grass is one of the best things that you can bathe your intestines with. Of course, another is aloe vera juice. So I do that with my Ciaga. And I'll tell you, you don't even have to worry about that Ciaga tasting sweet once you dump it in there with that aloe vera juice.
Right?
But it's good for me, and so I drink it.
That's so funny because I've been, Annalise, she's nursing now, and she's going back to work now this week. And when the baby first came, they came home. She started the shake because she was feeling so tired and drained, and she was fine. So then a few weeks later, I had already taken her some Ciaga to their house, and I just had probably maybe 3 or 4 cups left in the bucket. So I took her the whole bucket so she could have that many. And she says, I can't put that in my drink, Mama. And I said, why? What's wrong with it? She says, I don't know. It tastes better if I just drink the powder. I said, okay. So she drinks the powder, and that's fine.
Oh.
She's drinking it. Yep. So then a couple weeks later, they come to the house, and I was making my shake for lunch. And she says, didn't you have that for breakfast? I said, yes, but my belly just ain't right today, and this is what I do. If I'm not feeling like I'm going to eat, I drink another shake. And she said, oh, you're putting everything in that? I can't do that. I can't do that. And I said, you're about to take a sip. And she took a sip of it. And 2 of the girls were home. It was her and Gracie. And Dexter, poor Dexter, he just took off the other room with the baby because he knew I was going to force him to take a sip too. and she took a sip and she just went straight to the sink. I said, don't you dare spit that out. That is my life. And so she put it down in her guts. And she's like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Mama, no. Mama, I can't do that. Gracie?
So she just takes the shake mix and eats it?
No, Ciaga.
Oh, okay.
Remember how we used to drink the 10 4?
Oh, yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So Gracie takes a sip of the drink and she goes, what is this doing for me? And then I rattled it all off. And she goes, I could do it. I said, that's my girl right there. You're going to do it because you know it's going to work, and that's it. You're not doing it because it's like a steak or it's your favorite dinner. It was so funny. It was so funny. I wish I could record these girls sometimes.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. Anybody got any other problems before we call it a night?
Well, I'm going to ask a quick question. I don't know if you can help me or not, but my neighbor has an eye that's going to the side on her.
Mm-hmm.
Been to the doctors, and one of them says this and one of them says that, but nobody's got any cure for it. Do you have any suggestions? With the
Well, I know what I do. I can't tell you that it'll work, but I would get her to get an eye mask.
Okay.
I mean, because that's going to, usually when an eye is going to the side, she's either had a little stroke, which, I mean, and if she's had a little stroke, then the magnets help with nerves reintegrate, but it's probably weak muscles. I mean, that's usually what causes cross-eye and all of that. And so if she would wear that, that would be, I think, the best thing she could do.
Because she says she was talking about it, she said it's been going on now for about a little over 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds like that's muscular. That doesn't sound like a stroke.
Yeah, it does.
That's what I would do. I would wear a, I'd try that and see what happened. And mind you, it's not going to be a quick process. I mean, she's
Right.
probably going to have to wear that for a while. I mean, it isn't magic, but that's what I would get. And the worst that'll happen is it'll stimulate her pineal gland and she'll sleep better at night and have better dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a question.
All righty.
The Thursday night calls, are we gonna do that schedule or?
Yes, I put it, it's out there on WhatsApp and I've just it's been a really busy week and I'm having to take quite a bit of time to help out my dad right now, so I am behind. But I will take what you all gave me and send that out to you all, because I've got to send it to Wendy too. So
well,
yeah.
I did see it. Okay, I was just wondering, I know some people were trying to put down two times, so I didn't know.
Let
just
me go through it and then I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Because what I put is just let me know what's open. Because
Okay.
I kind of got in on the tail end of it after being down at Henry's sister's house. So
Okay, well, I will look at that tomorrow. I'll have the time at some point.
Okay.
Like I said, this is sort of a crazy week.
Yeah.
And Miss Barbara's starting it off on February 4th. Is that how that's
Yes.
when we're
Yeah,
starting?
it starts off February 4th.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that I had February the 4th. I don't know when I saw the date.
We had
come up, I
talked
thought
last
that-
week, you said, I want the first one, but Betty had already said she wanted the first one.
No,
So Betty
because
got the first one and you got the second one.
And that's fine. My brain just doesn't connect the dots sometimes. It's
Well,
okay.
I needed to get it into a calendar. Like I said, I mean, I'm really trying to help my dad out with some stuff, and my stepmom she is really into dementia, and it is really bringing my dad down. And I'm really, I hope that he doesn't die before her. I mean, it's a bad, and it's just so hard because I can't get in there to him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in order to see him, he's got to leave the grounds. I mean, he has to drive over. And I mean, you know, now we're going back and forth to the cardiologist, and I don't think they're going in the right direction. And I mean, then he pulled a muscle in his groin. And I mean, it's just been a real mess. And I mean, the muscle in the groin really, really, really hurt him. And I showed him, I know it's a piriformis muscle, but he goes to the doctor and the doctor says, well, you might have torn it. And I'm like, you know, the chance of you tearing that piriformis muscle and you're still being able to stand up straight is pretty slim, because that's the only thing that holds the top of the bottom of your body together. But he had to pay to get a scan, and he didn't want to do any stretches, which is what will help the piriformis, until he found out if it was torn. And I mean, you know, so sometimes I just want to take a baseball bat and go after some of these doctors, but you have to keep going, not kill anybody. That's not the Christian polite thing to do. But I mean, you know, the whole deal was he wanted to run that scan, and, you know, it's just been so, and like, if I can get in there, you know, and then this really, so, you know, we're around Bluetooth all the time. So, you know, they're treating Dad for heart failure now. Put him on the LASIK. So I ordered him a scale like mine, and we were going to set it up with his phone, but he came over here and he didn't know anything. So we sent him the book. Well, the first thing in the book says, if you've got a pacemaker, that you can't use the scale. I said, Daddy, the scale is at your feet. He said, well, I had to move my phone to my pocket. I said, well, yeah, but this is at your feet.
Yeah. Oh,
It
Lord.
says I can't use it. I said, well, next time we go to the heart doctor, I said, they put that on there so that you won't be able to sue them.
Yeah.
But I promise you that scale is not going to reprogram your pacemaker. So now we don't go this Friday. We go back the following Friday. I've got to get, because I mean, it'll just be simpler if he can stand up with his phone, and that'll be recorded, and that'll be that, instead of him having to keep up with it. But it's just like, oh my Lord.
Oh, God
And you know,
bless
the funny
my heart.
part about it, if he had known the code for his phone, we'd have taught him how to use it over here, and he'd have never looked at that. But because he had to read through, he said, the first thing says, if I've got a pacemaker, I can't use it. I said, it's because it's Bluetooth. But, you know, so I said, you've got your Bluetooth phone in your pocket. That's much closer to your heart than the Bluetooth scale that's
Right.
going to be down under your feet.
Oh, Lord.
So you know, it's just like, please God, let everything be just a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But I like his cardiologist, like that doctor, so that's good. But you know, this one, it's the one at the forest that told him, you know, just don't move around. And I said, Daddy, you've got to stretch out. And I downloaded a YouTube video that showed him how to do it. And he said, well, he told me not to do anything till we knew if it was torn.
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
send prayers.
Well, we'll pray for you.
Right.
Pray
Send
for
them
Please
prayers.
do. Please do. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm blessed. We've had him for 85 years and, he's been just as healthy as he can be, but my dad is not a caregiver. That's not what he was put on this planet to be. And I'm telling you, this is
Yeah.
whipping his butt.
Takes a toll on them.
It does. It does. All righty. Well, Kathy, I might see you on Saturday. I hadn't decided yet if I'm going to do it or not. But anyway, you all have a good week and I'll see you next week.
Y'all
Thank
too.
Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love y'all.